The interstellar transport ship called Silver Path was always crowded during the evening journeys, but today it felt even heavier with noise, movement, and tired travelers. People of many species filled every seat and every corridor as the ship prepared to leave the station. Bright screens flashed departure times, the air smelled of metallic dust and energy cores, and a soft vibration ran through the floor as engines warmed up. Among the last few passengers to enter was a human man named Aaron. He walked slowly, holding his small daughter in his arms. The girl was asleep, resting her head on his shoulder, her tiny hands gripping his jacket. Aaron looked exhausted. His eyes were red, his steps uneven, as if he had not slept for days. Travelers pushed past him, barely noticing the tired father moving through the crowd. He moved deeper into the cabin, looking for a seat, but every single one was taken. Alien creatures with bright scales, long tails, or crystal-like skin sat in rows, talking softly or staring at their devices. Aaron kept walking, hoping for one empty space, but there was nothing. He adjusted his daughter gently, whispering to her even though she could not hear him. An alien woman sitting near the center watched him from the corner of her eye. She was tall, with metallic blue skin and silver markings that glowed faintly when she breathed. Her species was known as the Serati, peaceful beings with strong senses. She noticed how carefully Aaron carried his daughter, how tired he looked, and how everyone ignored him. Something in her heart softened. She stood up without speaking, stepped out of her seat and gently touched Aaron's arm. He stopped immediately, surprised. The woman pointed to the seat she had just left and gave a warm, friendly smile. Aaron blinked, uncertain, but then whispered a soft thank you. He sat down slowly, trying not to wake his daughter. The alien woman remained standing, keeping her balance easily as the ship doors closed behind the last passengers. But the moment Aaron sat down, the Serati woman felt something unusual. A tiny wave of heat brushed against her skin, like a small pulse of living energy. She frowned and looked around, wondering if the ship had changed settings or if someone had activated a device. But nothing had changed. The feeling had come from Aaron. She watched him carefully. When he shifted his daughter's weight, a faint shimmer passed over his fingers, so quick she almost doubted she had seen it. She looked around to see if anyone else reacted, but everyone seemed unaware. Only she felt it. Aaron lowered his head, trying to avoid attention, but the stress in his body was clear. His daughter slept peacefully, but his breathing was heavy, and his hand trembled for a second before he hid it under the blanket wrapped around the child. The Serati woman tilted her head. Humans did not glow. Humans did not release heat waves. Humans were simple, physical beings with no inner energy strong enough to be felt from a distance. But this man carried something different inside him. The ship began moving, smoothly leaving the space station. Vibrations filled the floor, lights dimmed, and soft music played to calm passengers. But near Aaron's seat, the faint energy pulse returned, this time stronger. The alien woman felt it pass through her chest like a warm breath. She slowly moved closer, pretending she was just looking around, but her eyes were fixed on Aaron's hands. Aaron felt her watching him. He kept his head down, hoping she would lose interest. But after a few seconds he spoke quietly, his voice rough from tiredness. "Thank you for the seat," he said without looking up. The alien woman nodded with a polite smile, though she was still deep in thought. She wanted to ask what he was, but she knew it was too soon. She could sense fear in him, hiding behind his tired eyes. Fear, and something else, something powerful, like a storm trapped inside a quiet sky. A soft tremor passed through the ship. Many passengers did not even notice, but the Serati woman did. And Aaron did too. He reacted instantly, pulling his daughter closer and tightening his grip on the armrest. The tremor came again, but stronger near them. The woman stared at Aaron in shock. It felt like the ship was reacting to him, as if his presence alone was causing tiny shifts in the energy field. Aaron closed his eyes for a moment, breathing slowly. He looked like a man trying to hold something inside, something he could not let out. The Sarah T woman felt her heartbeat speed up. She did not know what this human carried, but she understood one thing clearly: it was dangerous. Then his hand glowed. It was faint, just a soft light under his skin, but bright enough to be real. He quickly hid it under the blanket again, pretending to adjust his daughter's position. The alien woman covered her mouth, stunned. Erin's eyes met hers for a second, and she saw fear, deep fear, shining in them. Not fear of her, but fear of being seen. The ship lights flickered again, confirming her suspicion. The energy inside Erin was real, powerful, and unstable. The alien woman looked at the sleeping child in his arms and wondered what kind of life they were running from. She wondered what kind of secret Erin was trying so hard to hide. And she felt something else too, something she did not expect. A cold, dark presence outside the ship, moving through space like a hungry shadow. And for some reason, it seemed to be heading straight toward Erin. The silver path moved deeper into the dark region of space known as the Silent Corridor, a place where communication signals often failed and strange echoes disturbed the scanners. Most passengers did not worry about it, but the air inside the ship slowly grew colder, heavier, like an invisible pressure was entering the walls. The Sarah T woman, still standing near Erin, felt her skin tingle. Her species could sense danger long before others noticed it, and right now her senses screamed quietly. Something outside the ship was not normal. Something was following them. She turned her gaze toward the large window across the cabin. The stars outside looked strange, like they were bending slightly. A faint shadow drifted between them, blacker than space itself. It had no shape, no clear outline, but it moved with intention. Erin saw it too. He tried to look away, but his daughter shifted in his arms, and the glow under his skin flickered again, just for a moment. He whispered to her softly, trying to keep her calm, even though she was still asleep. Sweat gathered on his forehead, and he wiped it with his sleeve, pretending everything was fine. But the Sarah T woman could see the truth. His heartbeat was too fast. His breathing was too controlled. His eyes kept jumping back to the shadow outside. She stepped closer and spoke quietly, trying not to scare him. "Are you all right?" Erin did not answer. Instead, he looked around the ship to see if anyone else had noticed the danger. The passengers were busy talking, laughing, or watching screens. No one felt what he felt. No one saw what he saw. Except her. Erin finally whispered, "We are not safe." His voice was so soft that even she barely heard it. She leaned in, her silver markings glowing faintly as she tried to understand. "What do you mean?" she asked. Before he could answer, the ship light suddenly flickered hard, and the engines let out a deep groan. The shadow outside shifted closer, sliding along the hull like a creature sniffing its prey. Panic rose inside Erin's eyes, and he gently rocked his daughter, whispering her name. The Sarah T woman felt something sharp touch her mind, like a cold whisper brushing against her thoughts. It came from the shadow. Her breath caught in her throat. Her species rarely felt fear, but this thing outside the ship, it was ancient. Hungry. And it was searching for something. Or someone. Erin held his daughter tighter, his arms trembling. The woman finally realized the truth. The creature was not following the ship. It was following him. A low alarm beeped from the ceiling. Then another. Then the entire ship began shaking as if something heavy was pulling it backward. Passengers screamed. Bags fell from the overhead racks. A few children cried as their parents tried to calm them. The Sarah T woman grabbed a metal pole and balanced herself. Erin tried to stand but nearly stumbled. The ship tilted slightly to one side, and the lights dimmed to a deep orange. The shadow outside pressed against the window. The glass warped, bending inward like soft metal. Passengers saw it for the first time and gasped in horror. People backed away, shouting in different languages. Some fainted. Some prayed. The Sarati woman reached for Aaron's arm. "What is that?" she whispered, her voice shaking. Aaron shook his head slowly, avoiding her eyes. He did not want to answer. He did not want anyone to know. But there was no time left. "It found me," he whispered, barely breathing. The shadow crept higher, sliding over the hull like a living nightmare. The lights flickered again, this time almost completely shutting off. The ship stopped shaking, but only for a moment. A deeper, more violent force hit it from the side. Passengers fell out of their seats. The Sarati woman landed on her knees, grabbing the edge of a chair to avoid crashing into the wall. Aaron didn't fall. His hand glowed again, brighter than before. A small wave of energy pushed against the floor, holding him steady. The Sarati woman's eyes widened as she saw it clearly for the first time. "You're not normal," she whispered. Aaron finally looked at her directly. His eyes had a soft golden glow hidden deep inside them. Not bright enough to alarm the others, but enough for her to see it. "No," he said. "And that is why it's coming." The alarm switched to a higher pitch. The captain's voice echoed through the ship, sounding strained and unsure. "All passengers, remain seated. We are experiencing an unknown energy disturbance outside the hull. Please stay calm." No one stayed calm. The shadow creature pressed harder. A deep crack formed in the metal. Cold air rushed into the cabin. Someone screamed. The Sarati woman felt her heart twist with terror. She grabbed Aaron's shoulder. "Tell me what it wants," she demanded. Aaron looked down at his daughter for a long moment. Then he whispered the words that froze her blood. "It wants my power." The shadow creature pushed again, and the ship's hull began to split open. And the worst part was not the creature outside. The worst part was the calm acceptance in Aaron's eyes. As if this was not the first time it had come for him. As if it had been hunting him for a very long time. The ship's hull groaned like a wounded animal as the shadow creature pressed harder against it. A long, deep crack expanded across the wall, spreading like black veins. Cold air whistled through the opening, and lights flickered wildly. Passengers panicked, screaming and pushing toward the center of the cabin. Fear filled every corner. Aaron kept his daughter against his chest, holding her with both arms, trying to protect her from the rushing cold. His eyes kept darting toward the widening crack. Each time the creature moved, the pressure in the air changed sharply. The Sarati woman felt the vibrations in her bones. Something about the creature's presence made the world feel thinner, weaker, like reality itself was bending. Gravity suddenly vanished. Passengers floated upward, screaming, spinning helplessly in the air. Bags, shoes, and boxes drifted beside them. The Sarati woman reached for a railing, but she lifted off the floor before she could grab it. She floated, terrified, her legs kicking in open space. Aaron did not float. A soft glow surrounded his feet, anchoring him to the floor. It was weak, flickering like a candle in a storm, but it held him steady. With one arm, he held his daughter, and with the other, he reached up to catch the Sarati woman's wrist as she drifted past him. His grip was strong, impossibly strong for a tired father. He pulled her down gently, keeping her close to the floor. She stared at his hand, at the light crawling under his skin. The glow shifted like living energy. She realized she was touching something ancient, something powerful, something no human should possess. "Hold on to me," Aaron whispered. His voice was calm, but his eyes were full of fear. The Sarati woman held his arm tightly. She was shaking, not just from the danger but from the truth forming inside her heart. Aaron was not ordinary. Aaron was not simple. Aaron was something else entirely. The shadow creature screeched outside the hull. The sound vibrated through every passenger's bones. The Sarati woman covered her ears, crying out from the sharp pain. Aaron's daughter woke up with a small gasp, confused and afraid. She clung to her father's shirt and whispered, "Dad, it's here again." Again. The Sarati woman felt her breath stop. This wasn't the first encounter. The shadow creature rammed the ship again, and another crack formed further down the wall. Air pressure dropped fast, and alarms blared overhead. The ship's speakers crackled as the captain shouted orders, but the words were lost in the chaos. Aaron wrapped a protective shield of faint light around his daughter. It shimmered like mist, barely visible, but enough to keep her safe from floating debris. The Sarati woman watched with wide eyes, unable to look away. "What are you?" she whispered, voice trembling. Aaron didn't answer. He looked at the creature pressing against the hull, shadows sliding over the glass. He whispered, "Not now." The cabin shook violently again. Aaron pulled the Sarati woman and his daughter behind a large seat that was bolted to the floor. The gravity system flickered and then came back slightly, making some passengers drop suddenly onto the floor with painful thuds. Others still floated helplessly in midair. The Sarati woman grabbed a seat, pulling herself down. Her body shook all over. She looked at Aaron and saw pure exhaustion in his eyes. But she also saw something else. Determination. He wasn't giving up. Aaron slowly stood, placing his daughter in the woman's arms. His hands glowed brighter, stronger than before. The air around him hummed with a strange energy. The Sarati woman felt heat radiating from him, like he was waking up something deep inside. The shadow creature slid halfway through the largest crack. Its body was made of liquid darkness, shapeless and shifting. It had no face, no eyes, but Aaron felt it watching him. Passengers screamed, backing away. Some fainted the moment they saw the monster. The creature stretched a long shadowy limb toward Aaron, its edges sizzling like cold fire. The Sarati woman held the child tightly, her breath shaking. Aaron stepped between them and the creature, his body glowing brighter with every breath. The creature screeched again, sending a wave of cold fear across the cabin. Aaron's daughter cried out, and her voice made Aaron snap. The glow around him exploded into a bright flash for a second. The creature flinched, its form rippling. It retreated slightly, confused by the sudden burst of energy. The Sarati woman gasped. She had no idea a human could release something like that. Aaron's voice was low, filled with pain and anger. "Stay away from my daughter." The creature screeched again, but this time it sounded frustrated, blocked by something it did not expect. Aaron took a step forward, and the glow around him sharpened, forming a thin layer of protective energy over his arms and chest. The Sarati woman whispered to herself, unable to believe it. "He's fighting it, alone." Aaron braced himself as the creature lunged forward again, forcing its way through the crack. The ship slammed violently to one side as the monster entered the cabin fully, casting a giant shadow over the shivering passengers. Aaron stood firm. The creature roared, and Aaron's eyes lit up with a golden light that had been hiding inside him for years. The Sarati woman felt a chill run down her spine. Whatever Aaron truly was, he wasn't done yet. And neither was the creature. Their battle was only beginning. The shadow creature filled the cabin like a living nightmare, its darkness crawling up the walls, swallowing lights, and twisting the air. Its presence made the temperature drop so fast that passengers' breath turned into thin white mist. Some people hugged each other, shivering, too terrified to run or scream. The Sarati woman pressed herself against the floor, clutching Aaron's daughter tightly. The girl trembled but did not cry. She only stared at her father with wide, terrified eyes, whispering, "Please, Dad, don't let it take you." Aaron stood between them and the creature, his body glowing brighter with every step the creature took. The glow spread across his arms, chest, and legs like lines of burning light trying to break free. His face, usually quiet and calm, now carried something else, a fierce determination mixed with deep sadness. The creature let out a long, sharp screech. Its dark limbs stretched toward Aaron, but each time they came close, the light surrounding him pushed them back with a hiss, like fire meeting cold metal. Passengers watched in shock. They had never seen a human like this. They had never seen anyone fight a creature of pure darkness with nothing but glowing light from their own body. The Sarati woman stared at Aaron, unable to blink. The glow reflected in her silver eyes. She could feel the power coming from him, old, heavy, dangerous, like a storm trapped inside human skin. Aaron raised his hands slowly. They glowed so bright that the shadow creature curled backward, twisting away like smoke blown by force. Aaron looked exhausted, his breathing rough, but he did not step back. "Why are you here?" he whispered to the creature, though he knew it would not answer. The creature screeched again and slammed its body against the cabin wall. The ship shook violently. Passengers collapsed to the ground. A few fainted from the shock. The Sarati woman could barely stand. She crawled toward a support beam and pulled herself up, still holding the child. Aaron turned slightly and shouted to her, "Stay low. Don't move." His voice was stronger than before, glowing with power just like his body. The creature lunged. Dark tendrils shot forward like spears. Aaron swung his hand in a circular motion, creating a shield of golden light. The tendrils hit the shield and exploded into black dust, but more grew instantly. Aaron gritted his teeth. The glow around him flickered. His power was being drained faster than before. The creature was learning, adapting, becoming more aggressive. It twisted its body, forming new shapes, new limbs, each one reaching for Aaron's light. The Sarati woman screamed as one tendril shot toward her. She shielded the child instinctively. But before the tendril reached them, Aaron thrust his hand forward and released a pulse of energy. The blast hit the tendril mid-air and dissolved it instantly. The cabin lights flickered and turned red. Sparks flew from the ceiling panels. The shadow creature grew larger, feeding on the ship's failing systems. Its body pulsed like a heartbeat, slow, deep, terrifying. Aaron stumbled back, falling to one knee. His daughter screamed, "Dad!" The Sarati woman held her tight, tears running down her cheeks. She felt helpless. She hated the feeling. Her species was known for courage, but right now she was frozen by fear. She wanted to run, but she couldn't. She wanted to help, but she didn't know how. Aaron pushed himself up again, shaking, struggling to stand. His glow dimmed slightly. The creature sensed weakness and lunged at him with a roar, its entire body aiming to swallow him whole. Aaron raised both hands, his arms trembling violently. A huge burst of golden light exploded from him, brighter than anything before. It was so bright that passengers covered their faces. The Sarati woman felt the heat on her skin, gentle yet powerful. The blast pushed the creature back, slamming it into the far wall. The creature shrieked, its form flickering like a dying flame. But it didn't die. It reformed quickly, furious, hungry, determined. Aaron collapsed to the ground, panting heavily. His glow dimmed further. Sweat dripped down his face. His arms shook uncontrollably. He had spent too much energy. He knew it. The creature knew it too. The Sarati woman ran to him, still holding the child. "You can't fight it alone," she whispered. Aaron looked up with tired eyes. He shook his head slightly. "I have to. It came for me." "But why?" she asked. Aaron looked at his daughter. The girl hid her face in the Sarati woman's chest. "Because of what I am." Before she could ask again, the creature lunged at them. The Sarati woman screamed and shielded the girl. Aaron threw himself in front of them, but his glow was too weak to stop the creature now. The darkness wrapped around Aaron's arms, squeezing, burning, trying to pull the light out of him. Aaron cried out in pain. The light in his arms flickered violently, like a candle in a storm. The Sarati woman stared helplessly, tears falling, wishing she could do something, anything. Then she heard something. A voice. Not Aaron's. Not the child's. A whisper. It came from the darkness. "We, take, the light." The creature was speaking. The Sarati woman froze in horror. Aaron gritted his teeth and shouted, "No." The creature tightened its grip. Aaron's golden glow dimmed further. Passengers screamed again. Some prayed. Some crawled toward the exit. Others fainted in terror. The Sarati woman stepped forward, shaking but determined. She grabbed Aaron's arm. She didn't know why. She didn't know what she was doing. She only knew she couldn't let him fall. The moment she touched him, a shock of energy surged through her entire body. Her silver markings began to glow. Bright. Brighter than ever before. Aaron gasped and looked at her in disbelief. The creature recoiled, confused by the sudden surge of combined energy. The Sarati woman didn't know what was happening. But she was connected to Aaron now. And the creature didn't like it. Not at all. The moment the Sarati woman touched Aaron's arm, a blinding force shot through both of them. It was like two different energies crashing together, light and silver fire merging into one heartbeat. Her markings glowed like burning stars, and Aaron's golden aura flared violently, brighter than before. The creature recoiled with a sharp screech, twisting its body as though burned. Its darkness rippled in panic. It had hunted Aaron many times before, but this was something it had never faced. Aaron tried to pull his arm away, afraid of hurting her, but the Sarati woman held tighter. "It's using your fear," she whispered. "Stop running from it." Aaron stared at her, stunned. No one, not in all the years he had been hunted, had ever said that to him. His daughter reached out with her tiny hand and touched her father's arm too. The glow surged again, three energies merging into one. The creature screamed, its shadowy form shaking violently, unable to approach. The Sarati woman looked at Aaron with wide silver eyes. "You don't have to fight it alone," she said softly. Aaron breathed in slowly. For the first time, he believed it. He stood up, pulling the Sarati woman and his daughter up with him. The golden light around him burned brighter than ever, not soft or flickering, but sharp and steady, like a sun waking from sleep. The creature tried to push forward again, but Aaron stepped in front of it, lifting his hand. The air vibrated with energy. The Sarati woman whispered, "What are you truly?" Aaron looked at the creature, not at her. "I'm a guardian." The creature shrieked, recognizing the word, fearing it. The Sarati woman's markings pulsed faster. "A guardian," she whispered. "The ancient protectors." They were believed to be stories. Aaron's voice was tired but firm. "We were real. And we were hunted. One by one." The creature lunged with desperate rage. Its darkness filled the air like a storm. The ship groaned. Walls cracked. Screams filled the cabin. Aaron did not run. He planted his feet, eyes burning with golden fire, and pushed forward. The energy roared from him like a tidal wave. The creature slammed into the wall, screeching in agony as cracks of light broke across its body. The Sarati woman stepped beside Aaron, her markings glowing so brightly that her entire body became a silver flame. The creature twisted toward her in panic. She raised her hand, something she had never done before, and a beam of silver light shot from her palm. The light struck the creature, slicing through its darkness like a blade. Aaron stared at her in shock. You're channeling my energy." She was surprised too, trembling. "You connected to me. I don't know how. But I feel your power." The creature tried to reform, but it was weaker, much weaker. It shrank, losing its shape, the darkness peeling away like smoke. Aaron took a step forward. His daughter, still holding his hand, whispered, "Dad, finish it." Aaron knelt down beside her. "You're not afraid?" She shook her head. Not when you're here. The Sarati woman felt tears rise unexpectedly. Aaron stood again. His glow surged. The creature screeched and tried to flee, but Aaron raised his hand high. Golden light gathered above his palm, a small sun forming in the middle of the ship. Passengers watched in awe and terror, whispering prayers, unable to move. The creature screeched louder, its voice cracking. Aaron whispered one final word. Enough. He thrust the golden sun forward. It exploded in a wave of pure energy, tearing through the creature. Darkness ripped apart. The creature's scream echoed through every bone in the cabin, and then slowly faded into nothing. The darkness dissolved into dust. Silence fell. The light slowly returned. Gravity stabilized. The cabin no longer shook. Passengers slowly sat up, eyes wide, unable to believe what they had seen. Aaron stood in the center of the room, breathing heavily, his glow fading. His daughter ran into his arms and hugged him tightly. The Sarati woman approached, trembling but smiling softly. You saved all of us, she said. Aaron shook his head weakly. No, we did. He looked at her glowing markings and then at his daughter, who still held a faint golden spark in her palm. The Sarati woman's voice softened. What happens now? Aaron looked out the window. The silent corridor stretched ahead. But somewhere in the dark, he felt another presence. Not like the creature, different. Watching. Waiting. He whispered quietly. That was not the only one. The Sarati woman felt a chill run through her body. How many more? She asked. Aaron's voice was tired, almost broken. I don't know. But they always find the light. Without warning, the ship's communicator crackled. The captain's voice came through, shaking, shocked, almost afraid. Human, whatever you did, thank you. But sensors show, something else is approaching from behind. Passengers gasped. Panic returned. Aaron lifted his daughter in his arms and turned to the Sarati woman. You don't have to stay involved, he said softly. You've already done more than anyone. She looked at him firmly, her silver markings glowing again. You offered me your hand when the ship lost gravity. I won't abandon you now. Aaron was stunned. For years, he had run alone. But now he wasn't alone. The little girl looked at the Sarati woman and smiled weakly. Are you going to stay with us? The Sarati woman gently touched the child's cheek. If your father allows it. Aaron closed his eyes for a moment. Then he nodded. And the ship suddenly shook again. Everyone froze. The captain's terrified voice filled the room. It's another one, bigger, and it's coming fast. The Sarati woman grabbed Aaron's arm. Aaron tightened his grip on his daughter. He whispered, not with fear, but with rising fire. Then we fight. The glow began to return, stronger, brighter, ready for the next battle. Because the darkness wasn't finished. And neither were they.